Hey. So recently I made some videos about walk-ins, and there was this comment from Aiden Mula saying if a walk-in will switch with you, it can be a bad spirit or some bad matrix attachments that you don't want. And if it's a weird being, that connection can be distracting for your mind and spirit. And I have that problem with much of a walk-in tried connection with me. So here's a question. How can I get rid of walk-ins? PS, just want to say you're looking good today. Thanks. So yeah, here's the video. How do you get rid of walk-ins? Well, so the whole thing and the idea is a walk-in is a being who, let's say, is spiritually intelligent and aware of what it's doing and why it wants to come here on Earth and specifically take your body or someone else's, and they have a goal. And they're using, let's say, a bypass system where they don't have to take soul contracts, where they're not messed with as much. They're just going to carry your case, so to speak, but it's going to be way easier on them. So they're bypassing a lot of the thingies that can interrupt and mess up their life. That being said, when a walk-in comes, in a perfect scenario, or the way it should work is that you leave and they come in. It should not be you stay and they come in, and now there's few beings within the physical body. It works like you get out and they switch with you. So if you have a walk-in and you're still here, it means you have an entity. You have a being, you invited someone else, but you've never left. So this walk-in could be a possible title, but you have never walked out, so it's more like, hey, you're being messed with. That being said, this scenario then goes into, okay, usually entity attachments, any fragments, fractals, alters, another aspects of us, yada yada yada. There are lots of cases where people you can hang out with someone else. And here's the thing as well. People that have sex tend to, let's say, merge as a consciousness for even a little bit, but it's like their souls will switch fragments in beingness, where a few days after sex with someone, you will notice, or even a few weeks, that parts of someone else's character, their personality, their beingness, where they're very creative or they're sluggish, where they're feeling depressed or they're feeling great, you're gonna get part of that. It's gonna stick with you if you don't clean your space. So there's a lot of ways how we can get things into our life and not necessarily be aware of it. Now, if you have tried to get a walk-in and leave, but all of a sudden you never left, but you got someone in, you invited a wrong being. Usually that's an entity. A lot of people that pray, that meditate, that ask for something are like, God, please help me get more money, or I need to get this job. I need to find the girl that will, be my dreams, or please help me with love. And we ask a lot of times without being specific, we want money. Well, how much? How would you like to get it? In which way? Who's gonna give it to you? When? Usually we're being generic and we get what we ask for. A lot of times when we are not focusing on who we are talking to specifically, like God, okay, it's generalized. How do you see God? How does he or she look like? Which religion does does that God fit in? And all these little things that goes into and if it's let's say Jesus, does he have let's say a little beard and short hair or curly hair? Which look will he fit in your reality? And a lot of people will just say God, or not necessarily have a specific image, or just just talking here. They're used to talking. And with that, these generalized things allow other beings and entities to just hey, I can be your spirit guide. I can be your ancestor. I can take a role of your grandpa. It's not that hard. You want me to be God? I can be God. And they can change their titles. But what gets them connected to you is that you and the other party have something in common. You might want to get help. You might want to get some money. You might want to get that girl. Well, guess what? Entities wanted to get that girl as well, but they could not. And now you want her, and they kind of can help you with that because they want to get to her as well. And boom, you have something in common. You have a connection. They get into your space. So a lot of these, like what in this specific comment called a walk-in is just like literally a being who gets into your space. You both either have something in common or you have asked them to come into your space. Whether you were aware of it or not, you have failed to do something and you got them in your space by asking for something specific or not. And there they are, helping you, giving you what you wanted. But you never left, and here you are. So in order to get rid of a walk-in or an entity or an aspect, it is really good if you can identify them. For example, do you know yourself? How do you feel? How do you act as a person? Who are you? How do you define yourself? What kind of characteristics and personality do you have? Once you have a clear definition of, let's say, well, you know, I'm consciousness living in a physical human body. I assume or would like to think that I am a kind being, that this, like, let's say I like to be inside my house, but I also love getting out in nature, love being around animals. I like being around people that get me, that I can connect with, yada, yada, yada. So you kind of sort of like define yourself. And then we look at parts of, well, there's anxiety, there's frustration, but it's also our physical body chemistry. It's also like, hey, you have this physical human body is very complicated in lots of ways. You know, like all the chemicals and, you know, everything is in such detail that without really understanding it, we can be like feeling that like firefly. Or you have this exam to take. You're gonna get your driver's license, you have to do your test, or you have to go on a date. And you have this thing where deep inside you're like all shaken up, and okay, like, well, most people will define, well, the fear and excitement feels exactly the same. It's just how you, what kind of label you want to put in it. Are you excited to go on a date, or are you afraid to go on a date? Are you excited to talk to this person, or are you scared? And so we're like looking at these things, but that feeling, that fight or flight, is like telling you, hey, this is you getting out of your comfort zone. And this feeling is encouraging you to take another step. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like to go for your goals. It's weird, but your body's telling you, take action, please. So there's that. But other people are like, that's an entity. So how do you tell the difference? We have to learn to listen to our body. We have to become self-aware. And how do you do that? So there's like a lot of details where one is studying, and who wants to spend hours and hours and hours trying to, you know, like go into all those details if that's not of your interest. For me, like, being able to see entities is great. But then I was able to change a lot because I received like physical therapy and a massage, and that allowed me to like connect to my physical body, because I was here, but most of the time, like, I'm not. I can get out. Like, there's any pain, there's like stuff I don't like, I'm out. I'm gonna get out of body, I'm gonna consciously shift, and I'm like, this body's like functioning on like 20-30% of my awareness, but the rest, like I'm done. Bye-bye. I'm gonna go explore, do something else. And so I learned to be here, present, at good times and bad times, and I became aware, like, oh my God, my body is not feeling too good. The things that are wrong, I became so used to it that it became normal, and it's not good. So learning through the massage that, like, oh, there are various aches and like and pains and tensions and trigger points and everything else, like, okay, that helps. So like there are lots of ways where it is your like what you eat, how much you sleep, do you work out or not, do you do, like, let's say physical therapy or massages is what helped me a lot. Like little things where you get to connect to your physical body to understand it better, and then like paying attention what you eat. Like let's say a few days ago I had some milk, so dairy products is not good for me, because every time I have dairy I have like these things showing up, like, great, okay, so like I'm aware and I did it consciously, so there you go. So little things, but like I'm paying attention, like, hey, my body's speaking to me all the time, do I know how to listen to it or not? So there's physical body, okay. A lot of these emotions that we have is going to come from this. If you have messed up your gut system and you feel like shit, it's because your body's feeling like shit, literally. And if you're not going to take care of it, you're going to have this. And it's not necessarily an entity. And there's so many steps where we go through taking care of our physical body and everything else. And after all that's done, and like being able to listen to it, to understand it, to become self-aware, yada, yada, yada. And then you're like, okay, spiritually, someone's in my space. I know it. Like I've tried to, like, let's say, get a walk-in. Some people are interested in incubus and succubus. Some people want to talk to spirit guides. And a lot of these things will end up with people getting an entity into their space. And usually it does show up like an emotion or a trait, a new personality, where it's like Murphy himself is following you around. Murphy's law, you're not that lucky. Or if there's like good things happening, don't worry, it will end at some time. So with all of those little thingies, you notice like you say a phrase, it slips and it hurts someone, and then it's triggering, then you have miscommunication and misunderstandings. And so like you have to now solve various relationship problems. A lot of times entities, like 90% of the time, they will mess up your relationships because of how others will perceive you. Like people can be around you, they see you, but the energy you give off is not yours anymore. It's entities. So a lot of people might be in your space, and no matter how kind you seem to others, no matter how good you're trying to be, how giving, how like maybe you're into teaching mode, maybe you're just like, hey, look, I'm kind of nice and I can give a lot of things to you, and you're like doing your best, but people are like triggered. They like, it's not necessarily jealousy, but they feel this pushback where they don't want to be next to you, they don't want to talk to you, they try to ignore you, or like, yeah, just like they switch. You have known them for 10 years or 5 or for a long time, where you feel like really comfortable, like this person is mine, like my kind of guy, my kind of girl now. And all of a sudden, boom, flip. And they might see you like a complete asshole, or they say things that will hurt you. And a lot of times entities is like what triggers them, because they're picking up not your energy, but theirs. Like people around you will pick up the energy of entities. So now you have to watch this. Like, what kind of issues do you have in your life, and how do you identify that you have an entity, a walk-in, or someone else into your space? And knowing yourself is the number one thing. Self-awareness, understanding your physical body to make sure it's not just your diet and how you're doing. It's not just your body chemistry, but at the same time into more spiritual side, and let's say esoteric, where, you know, like someone's around us, someone's in their space. So like personality shifts, how you're feeling, how you're doing, your thinking, it switches. And here's the thing, for people that are able to get out of body, or let's say that have experienced like something like near-death experience, for people who don't have that many entities in their space, they have a very clear mind. They don't think. You can think, but it's not a chatter 24/7, not being able to shut up. Most people are like having entity clusters in their space, and these entity clusters are talking all the time, commenting about everything. Ooh, look, a cup of cocoa. And you're just like, yay. And you're getting all excited, but comments all over the place. Ooh, what time it is? When do I need to go to bed? Do I need to get up at school or at work? And da 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 da. And like lots of little comments. So that's just like good. It's okay if you comment. All right. But then there's like what if scenarios. Oh, he didn't write back. She didn't write back. How am I going to feel? What if da 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 da? And you create tons of scenarios. You're not supposed to do that. That whole worry case, what if, it's not you. Consciousness that is not affected by anything else. Like, let's say, okay, like you've been triggered, you've lived on Earth, you've had your own case. But on a best case scenario, you're going to be clear. You're going to see things for what they are without being judgmental, without having an opinion about it. Good, bad, right, wrong is not a thing. It's right here in front of you. And again, like, people get triggered by words. So if you have a reaction, it's quite likely something in your space that's reacting to it. So there's a lot into identifying that you have an entity, that you have an aspect, that you have something in your space that's really messing with you. And if you're able to put a label on it, just to know specifically who you're talking to, who you're dealing with temporarily until you get them out, it would be good. So let's say, okay, a walk-in in your space. How do you identify it? With all of the little things I've talked about, okay, well, let's just say the aspect of me that, you know, let's just say can't think clearly, that has a brain fog, that is procrastinating. And you will give it a personality or a label so that you would know who you're dealing with. And then lots of ways. Again, it really depends on you as a person and what kind of let's say, strengths are you aware of that you have right now? Because I'm pretty sure like everyone can be a psychic. Everyone can have like an ability to get out of body. Everyone can do tons of things. It's just like, which muscles have you worked on and trained that you can use right now, currently? You don't like, okay, in order to defeat this thing, you don't need to learn anything. Just use what you have. And let's just go with that. So if you have great visuals, or if you can visualize an apple in your hand, amazing. Now you can visualize like this entity, this being, this walk-in in your space that causes or that has procrastination. Like entities, aspects, alters, walk-ins, someone else, you name it, they're going to have a personality, they're going to have a feeling state, they're going to have their way of thinking. And a lot of people are like, oh, ancestors, help me, ooga booga, because like, you know, what the fuck, like they might be a caveman and you're asking a knowledge of a caveman. They might not have that much knowledge. They might have not learned about life, about archons, about something else. If that's their belief system territory, they might have been rock and stick and mammoth and eat. Ooga booga, yeah, that's it. So if that's your guide, it's not helping. So when you're able to, let's say, see them and identify them and talk with them, and you have visuals, okay, you choose how you would like to deal with them. Would you like to see them being kicked out through the door? Would you like to put them in the box? Would you like to create a reality for them where they can live? Would you like to pick a chainsaw and cut them up? Like, it's up to your creativity, your likes, your standards, your beliefs. Are you pissed off enough to kill them? Or are you like polite enough to offer them a way out? Are you into, hey, you know, you're in my space, you got here because, and you're aware of it, and then you try to have a conversation and you politely ask them to leave? Or you're pretty much like just like tired and you're in a hurry and you just don't want to deal with any of it and you don't care about them at all. So where you destroy them or you kick them out or something else, like it's up to you. But again, creativity, it's your characteristics, it's what you like. And that would be a thing. So, all right, that's if you have visuals. What if you don't have visuals? So then I would go into, you can think, everyone can think. So it is your thought and intention. Think of a box, like same thing you would do with visualizing. You think about it. You have an intention. Okay, here it is. For example, possibly a box in front of me, or let's say I created this weird reality where they can go. I have an intention. This thing like just popped up. It is a reality. I thought of it. I don't necessarily see it, but there it is. For example, maybe, and I ask this entity that I cannot see possibly to go into this bubble and, you know, literally just play with it. So there's that. You can have a conversation. Okay, so this entity that has procrastination, what might be some reasons for procrastinating? What might be some reasons for being here in my space? Is there any way I can help you? Why are you here? And you literally ask questions, and a lot of the answers will come as your own thoughts, as your own knowledge. Like you can just sit there after asking a question, and you're just gonna have the knowingness. Without hearing anything, without having any thought, you're just gonna get an understanding. Other people, like they're gonna use your own voice. We have entities in our space, and we start misidentifying with them. If they have procrastination, if they have anxiety, if they have this sluggishness, and this is like, I don't want to do anything. That's not my thing, not going to move, not going to do stuff. So that is like, for example, an entity has a personality. When they hang out around us for a long enough time, and we can't tell the difference between us and them, what they have, we're going to pick up and it's going to become a part of us, which is why we start acting these ways, which is why a lot of those thoughts, like, okay, you're intuitive is one thing, you might not be aware how intuitive you are or how empathic you are. So like just the same way you might have experienced an like energetic vampire and you felt like, oh my, I'm so drained. Like this person, I met them, they had a conversation, and all of a sudden my energy just went out, like exhausted, don't want to do anything. I just want to go back home and rest. And you might have had this experience. Well, guess what? It's happening all the time, and you're not necessarily getting exhausted, but the same way you felt your energy going out is the same way a lot of these entities in your space, and everybody has them one way or the other. It's like, hey, you know, you pick up stuff. You get the feeling, you get the sense. Can you tell that this feeling is yours or not? Where did it come from? When did it start? How does it feel like? When you feel it, is it one way, or like, is this feeling currently different than what you're feeling usually? So there's a lot of variations, a lot of little questions to ask, but hey, you can see the difference. Maybe. Easy for me to talk. I have experience, I've worked with others and everything, so I can talk freely, and you pick up where you believe it or not is your thing, and it's okay to doubt, it's okay to have your own opinion, even if it's different. So yeah, there's that. But literally having a conversation, so you can have knowingness, you can hear the voice if you have more perception, or you can just have your own thoughts come up as an answer, and then you're like, am I going crazy? Is this just me talking to me? It doesn't matter. As long as you try talking and they leave and you don't have that thing coming up, it does not matter if it's an entity talking, if it's you talking. Basically, you're creating absolutely everything around you. So it would be like, yeah, you created that entity and you got rid of that entity. Good for you. It was your own thoughts and your own doing all along. So kudos. So there's that. Visuals, let's say intention and thinking. I would say intention and also physical movement. So for example, okay, an entity might be here around in this space, and they're like right now can't think clearly. So I just grabbed it, and here's let's just say I'm gonna have some fire in my hand, and it burns. So you literally are using maybe some body movement, and you're pulling it out like a cord, or let's just say here's a cord, here's scissors, I just connected it. Feels so much better. And you have an intention, you're imagining it a little bit, you're allowing yourself some creativity, you're using some body motion to maybe pull something out, maybe grab something, get it out of your space. But it's, again, how creative are you? How many ways? Because there's not necessarily a frame and 5 techniques of how to, and you have to do it specifically like this or it's not gonna work. Nah. It's explore. Literally try tons of things. Everything I said, you can even switch it up, try your own things, and slaughter what I said or not, either way. But literally trying as many things as you possibly can until you find something that works. It's good. But yeah, there's a lot of steps, a lot of things I have not mentioned. But if you have a way to deal with entities, if you have felt like someone entered your space and you were able to get rid of it, please share that in the comments, because your story might help someone else. So hey, just this is a huge topic, lots of ways to go, but I think I should wrap it up. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Feel free to share your stories and take care. Bye-bye.